Okay, small supplemental. Quick note on boundary regions. So I showed you how to set up an offset perimeter boundary region that lets the bit curve, cut around the entire edge of a curved thing so that you reach all the way to the bed and cut the whole object. There are certain situations in which you will not need to do this because the edges of your object will not glance all the way to the bed of the table like these do. For example, if you have a three-dimensional object that has three-dimensional contours, topography, and shape, but that has a hard edge, you can just rely on the normal perimeter of the object, which I make with my mesh outline, to be your bounding region. Now, until we've seen what the roughing and finishing passes do, you'll have to take this on faith. But what will happen if we try to cut this is it will cut just the surface of this three-dimensional. We try to cut inside this line, use this as a control geometry. It'll cut inside it, do the surface, and then stop before it gets to the edge. So you'll end up with a stock Rhino skills that looks like this after your first cut. Clearly it's not finished. You've just cut a depression of your 3D object. But remember from the first tutorial, the 2D intro, you can just then cut a profile around the edge of your object straight down. This is actually a more efficient, more accurate, and prettier way to do this. So in incidences when you can, make sure to take advantage of the straight walls of an object that you're trying to cut by cutting them out with profiles. But, aha, you say, what if I have an object that does both? What if I have an object that has straight walls in some spots and has glancing, feathering geometry swooping smoothly to the bed that I need to cut out in other spots? Well, that depends. The solution to that depends on how much time you want to spend setting it up versus how much time you want to spend cutting it. The offset perimeter will always work to cut something out. Right? So this will still work for this object. When all else fails, you can use an offset perimeter to get everything. You can make any boundary curve that you want to. You can make a boundary curve that is offset in some areas where you need to cut all the way to the edge, and just straight on the perimeter in other areas where you don't need to cut on in all the edge. The difference comes down to the type of finish you want and the amount of time you want to spend setting it up.